Does he blow up for no reason and then beg for forgiveness? Be careful, it's manipulation. Imagine this. You're having a normal conversation. Nothing serious, nothing dramatic. Then suddenly, his mood changes. His voice gets sharper. His face hardens. And before you know it, you're defending yourself in an argument you never saw coming. Now you're confused. Now you're hurt. Now you're wondering what you did wrong. A few hours later, your phone lights up. It's him. He's sorry. He didn't mean it. He's stressed. He's been under pressure. He loves you. And somehow, instead of focusing on how badly he treated you, you're focused on making things okay again. You forgive him. You move on. You tell yourself everyone makes mistakes. But then it happens again, and again, and again. If this pattern feels familiar, there is something important you need to understand. Not every apology is a sign of change. Sometimes it's the very thing keeping the cycle alive. Today we're going to uncover why some people explode, apologize, and repeat the same behavior over and over again. More importantly, we're going to talk about why so many good people stay trapped in this pattern far longer than they ever imagined. Because once you understand what's really happening, you'll never look at these apologies the same way again. Most people think the biggest problem is the fight, the yelling, the accusations, the hurtful words. But that's not what keeps the cycle alive. The apology does. Think about it. If someone hurt you and never came back, the decision would be much easier. Instead, they return with regret. They tell you they're sorry. They promise it won't happen again. They become affectionate, caring, loving. And suddenly, the focus shifts. Instead of thinking about what happened, you start thinking about what could happen. Maybe he finally understands. Maybe this was a wake-up call. Maybe things will be different now. That's the trap. The apology creates hope. And hope can be powerful enough to make people ignore patterns they would never accept from anyone else. You stop looking at what keeps happening. You start looking at what might happen. You focus on potential instead of reality. That's why so many people stay stuck. Not because they enjoy being hurt, because they believe change is just around the corner. The relationship survives another argument, another disappointment, another broken promise. And every time the cycle repeats, the apology becomes less about accountability and more about resetting the relationship, starting over, again. But if the relationship causes so much pain, why does it become so difficult to walk away? The answer has less to do with love than most people realize. Many people believe they stay because they're in love, and sometimes that's true. But often, something else is happening beneath the surface. You're not just attached to the person, you're attached to the relief. After one of his outbursts, your mind goes into overdrive. You replay the conversation, you question yourself. You wonder whether another argument is coming. The tension follows you throughout the day. Then he apologizes, and suddenly that pressure disappears. You feel lighter, safer, more hopeful. The emotional storm finally ends, and that relief feels good. Really good. So good that your brain starts craving it. Without realizing it, you begin waiting for the apology the way someone in a drought waits for rain. Not because the relationship is healthy, because the relief feels powerful after the pain. This is why many unhealthy relationships feel so intense. People mistake emotional highs and lows for deep connection, and mistake relief for love. They mistake unpredictability for passion. And the cycle keeps going. Pain, relief, pain, relief. Until you start believing that the good moments are proof the relationship is working. But here's the question. If those good moments are real, why do they disappear so quickly? Why do you keep finding yourself back in the same situation? The answer lies in something that makes these relationships incredibly difficult to understand. You never know which version of him you're going to get. This is where many people get stuck for months, sometimes years, because the person who hurts you is not cruel all the time. If he were, the decision would be much easier. Instead, there are moments when he's thoughtful, kind, affectionate, the version of him that made you fall in. Love in the first place suddenly reappears, and every time it happens, you feel hope. You tell yourself, this is the real him. You convince yourself that the angry version is just temporary, that the explosions happen because of stress, pressure, problems at work, anything except what they actually reveal, a pattern. The problem is that you begin judging the relationship by its best moments instead of its most consistent ones. One good weekend erases 3 bad weeks. One romantic gesture makes you question everything you've been feeling. One heartfelt apology makes you believe the future will be different. And before you know it, you're no longer looking at the relationship as it is. You're looking at the relationship as it could be. You're holding on to possibilities, not reality. Healthy relationships aren't built on occasional good days. They're built on consistency, on knowing that respect, kindness, and emotional safety won't disappear the moment something goes wrong. But when you're constantly waiting for the good version of him to return, something inside you starts changing. You become more careful, more cautious. And without realizing it, your life begins revolving around avoiding the next explosion. At first, you don't notice it. The changes happen slowly, so slowly that they feel normal. You start choosing your words more carefully. You avoid bringing up certain topics. You wait for the right moment to express how you feel. You pay attention to his mood before saying something important. If he seems stressed, you stay quiet. If he seems irritated, you postpone the conversation. If he seems distant, you become extra careful. Little by little, you stop acting naturally, not because you've changed, because you're trying to prevent another explosion. You start believing that if you can just say things the right way, maybe the next argument won't happen. Maybe he'll stay calm. Maybe everything will be okay. But here's the truth. You cannot manage someone else's emotions for them. You cannot carry responsibility for every reaction they have. A healthy relationship doesn't require you to constantly monitor the emotional weather. It doesn't require you to walk on eggshells. It doesn't require you to sacrifice your peace in order to preserve theirs. Yet many people stay trapped in this role. They become experts at avoiding conflict, experts at reading moods, experts at keeping the peace, while the other person never learns to control their own behavior. And that's when the cycle becomes even harder to see. Because every time you're exhausted, frustrated, or ready to question the relationship, something happens. The apology arrives. And not all apologies mean the same thing. One of the biggest reasons people stay trapped in these cycles is because they confuse apologies with accountability. But those two things are not the same. An apology is something you say. Accountability is something you do. And that's a huge difference. After an outburst, he might tell you he's sorry. He might sound sincere. He might even cry. But listen carefully to what happens next. Does the behavior change? Or do the same problems keep returning? Many manipulative apologies sound convincing because they contain just enough truth. I was stressed. I've been dealing with a lot lately. You know, I didn't mean it. That's just how I am. At first, these explanations seem reasonable. Everyone gets stressed. Everyone has bad days. Everyone makes mistakes. But healthy people don't use those reasons to excuse a pattern. They use them to take responsibility for it. That's what accountability looks like. It doesn't just acknowledge the damage. It works to prevent the damage from happening again. Manipulation works differently. It focuses on ending the conflict, restoring the relationship, getting another chance. The words may sound right. The emotions may look genuine. But if nothing changes afterward, The apology becomes part of the cycle instead of the solution. And that's why the most important thing to watch is never what someone says in the moment. It's what they consistently do afterward, because over time, patterns tell the truth that words often hide. And if this pattern continues long enough, the biggest cost won't be another argument. The biggest cost will be what it slowly does to you. The biggest danger in this kind of relationship is not the arguments themselves, it's the person you slowly become because of them. Most people don't notice it happening. They think they're simply adapting, being patient, being understanding, being supportive, but over time, something changes. You become less confident. You stop trusting your instincts the way you once did. You start second-guessing yourself. You replay conversations in your head, searching for mistakes. You wonder if you're overreacting. You wonder if you're being too sensitive. You wonder if somehow all of this is your fault. And that's exactly why this pattern is so damaging. It doesn't just affect your emotions, it affects your relationship with yourself. The person who once spoke freely becomes hesitant. The person who once trusted their judgment becomes uncertain. The person who once felt secure starts feeling anxious. You may even begin to forget what emotional peace feels like. Not because you've become weak, because you've spent so much time adapting to chaos that chaos starts feeling normal. And when chaos becomes normal, you stop asking whether the relationship is healthy. You start asking whether you can tolerate it a little longer. That's a dangerous place to be, because healthy love should help you feel more like yourself, not less. It should build trust in your own voice, not make you question it. It should create emotional safety, not constant tension. And if a relationship repeatedly leaves you feeling smaller, more anxious, and less confident than before, that's not something to ignore. That's something to pay attention to. Because eventually, every person reaches a moment where they must answer one question: are these apologies creating real change? Or are they simply keeping the cycle alive? Let's go back to the question that brought you here. Why does someone explode, beg for forgiveness, and then do it all over again? Because sometimes the apology is not ending the cycle, it's protecting it. That's why the most important thing you can take away from this video is simple. Stop focusing only on the apology. Start focusing on the pattern. Anyone can have a bad day. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can regret something they said in the heat of the moment. But healthy relationships are not defined by isolated mistakes. They are defined by consistent behavior. That's what matters, not what happens once. What happens repeatedly. So the next time an apology arrives, ask yourself a different question. Not, do I believe them? Ask, what has actually changed? Because real accountability creates different actions. Real growth creates different patterns. Real change becomes visible over time. If the same explosions keep happening, if the same promises keep being made, if the same cycle keeps repeating, then the apology may not be evidence of change. It may simply be evidence that the cycle is continuing, and that realization can be difficult. Because most people don't stay because they enjoy being hurt. They stay because they believe things will eventually become what they once hoped they could be. But hope alone cannot build a healthy relationship. Only consistent behavior can do that. So remember this. Do not judge a relationship by its best moments. Judge it by its most consistent ones. Because the truth about a relationship is rarely found in the apology. It's found in what happens after the apology is over. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop waiting for another promise and start paying attention to the pattern that's been there all along.